Rio and I do our darnest to track, to give you guys all of the tools on our Facebook groups. Expert Attraction. This group, for those who are not familiar, is only reserved for EXP agents who have signed up, who want to learn about recruiting agents. Nothing else. I will never spam you guys about anything that's not agent attraction related. So you have the events here. That's today's session. Level Up is going on right now, cut in tandem. Our New York crew is doing another training in tandem with us here. This is the event that Dick and I were supposed to be in New York real time, but we're moving it to Zoom. So EXP Commercial Explained, and then Thursday Executive Overview, and then tomorrow we got role play practice, and it goes on and on and on. Leaders, I encourage all of you that as you do events, as you do public events, whether they're in person or they're on Zoom, let me and Rio know. She will add your events onto this page so all of us can leverage each other's events to grow. If you were doing a lunch and learn in your local market, here's my question for you, and expect 10 people to show up because that's the maximum that COVID allows or something. And you're all fired up and 15 people say they're gonna show up. I'll bet you that 7 will show up. I'll bet you all day. Even though 15 people said yes, 7 or 8 will show up. So then you got 2 empty chairs or 3 empty chairs. Wouldn't you want to have 11 people show up, be one with standing room only, or when this has happened for me in the past, where we have we're oversold, right? Because we want 50 people, and then we have 75 people who RSVP'd, or 100 people RSVP, and then 60 show up, and the hotel says you can only have 50 in that room because that's the fire code. All we do is we step to the 10 agents who's most seasoned, who's not speaking, and those 10 EXP agents step out of the room and we let their guests in. What kind of feeling, what kind of emotions, what kind of excitement do you think your guests will have when you see it is totally sold out? We have to ask people to leave the room. Do they feel a little bit more special that you invited them? So I went on the rant because I want to make sure that you understand the power of live events, the power of Zoom events, the power of all of this. We have this system and you guys can go so much faster than ever before if you just learn to leverage all that stuff. What else is available, right? We have Expert Attraction. We have Scott and Tracy Lewis's Team Disruptor group. There's announcements, there's topics, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. This is totally having to do with agent attraction as well. We just created a new one, and the new one is Cap Rate This with our commercial folks. I've invited the majority of you to this. You want to learn everything about that's going on in commercial? Boy, you better follow this, and you should invite your people to this. This Saturday, why you should not enter commercial real estate during COVID-19. All right? It's Jim Huang, Calvin Wong, myself, Daniel Eng, and Keith Andrews, all rock star commercial agents. And guess who's the guest speaker? Our CEO, Jason Dessing. Our CFO, Jeff Whiteside. These guys are running, along with Glenn Sandiford, a $5 billion publicly traded company, debt-free, liability-free. You'd be crazy if you aren't inviting every freaking real estate agent you know to the Saturday's call, where we have rock stars on this call, the CEO and CFO. Then you better be on there. You can track to see who's on there, and you're going to follow up with them and follow up with them, because wouldn't you want them to hear it first from you? Wouldn't you want the invite to be coming from you and not from me? Because after this call, Rio's job is to go into every one of my LinkedIn profile and target commercial agents and invite them to this and make sure that they got an invitation from Tom Truong. Let's download a little bit. Open up your mic. Sort some of the things that you guys heard from Tracy, from Rob, Chris, and from Sam. Let's share some of the takeaways, please.
I got some.
Go ahead, Dorothy, please.
Okay, so both Tracy and Rob shared how vulnerable they felt at the beginning, how they didn't know how to do it, and how Rob said, I just wasn't comfortable calling people on the phone. I said, really? Rob Flick? And Tracy said, I was a school teacher. I made $20,000 a year, and I went to I got my degree on a scholarship, and I had $17,000 of debt. And I never thought. I always think of Tracy as this wow, big, powerful woman. I never thought, oh, she started at the beginning. She learned it, but she didn't quit.
Yeah. And the key thing that I heard about Tracy, and I still know this today, is she is extremely scripted. Still to this day, when she calls me, this is who Tracy is. Still to this day, I mean, we talk to each other 3 times a week still today. In the beginning, I talked to her 3 times a day for a year. Today, she calls me and she still says, "Hey, Tom, do you have 2 minutes for a business call?" I was like, "Tracy, don't stop saying that. Just say, 'Hey, Tom, how are you?'" That's who Tracy is, because she's trained herself, right? NLP, neuro linguistics, and that's how she sold a lot of houses, by following Tom Hopkins' script. That's how she recruited a lot of agents, just following her script, and it's very detailed oriented. She and I are totally different personalities. I learned the scripts, but when I start to call, I just wing it, right? It's totally different style. Now maybe it should change. Maybe I can do a lot better, because I'd have an organization with 3,000 people instead of, approaching 600, right? So I got to learn some things. I got to unlearn some of the stuff, and learn some of the habits that I've been doing, and so should you. Thank you for sharing that, right? Scripts, for those who aren't comfortable saying stuff, well, read from the script and just practice and practice and practice. What else did you guys learn?
You don't just have to go for these mega producing agents. Listening to Rob talk about saying his agents were between $1 million and $2 million were some of his high performers, and how it grew out of that, I think is really easy. When I first got started, I printed a list of everybody who would have been a capping agent thinking that way. And yet how many different people, Rob doesn't care, you know what I mean? And it led to finding some really great superstars that absolutely changed his business. But that was a big takeaway for me, was don't limit yourself just based on agents who are capping.
That's right. Looking for the people who are looking for you, and it's a numbers game. Good. He said, be a good inviter, be a professional inviter, and then get out of the way. Can you guys professionally invite to these three calls that's happening today right now for EXP Explained, right? 2 residential, 1 commercial happening today. You just professionally invite. Who remembers the script that Rob used at the end? Go ahead, Corinne.
I have the only, referring back to Rob, what he said, one of the biggest things that I recall, and I did take some notes, but was that when you're making the appointment, you control your time. So you're like, is 10 o'clock tomorrow good, or 3 o'clock on Friday? As opposed to, being like, oh, let me see, what's good for you. You be more directive and specific with your time.
Yes, thank you for that. Exactly. And for anyone who's in sales, that's not a Rob Flick line. He's learned that because he's a salesman, right? Most salesmen, know that line. Hey, is Tuesday or Thursday better for you? Great. I have a 1 or 3. I mean, for those who, Chris Warner, you've done Amway. We talked about that, right? That's what we talk about.
That's right.
That's exactly the script. It's a 100-year-old script. Use it. Thank you for sharing, Corinne. Rob said, would you be offended if I can put you in contact with someone who has built a passive residual real estate income of over $300,000 per year and is living the life that he's always dreamt of? Yeah. Something like that. Would you be interested? Would you be offended if I put you in touch with the president of a commercial division that is going to take this business globally? Would you be offended if I got you an hour of his time? We do the commercial. Would you be offended if I got you a special invitation to a Zoom account, to a Zoom call, live call this Saturday? We're only allowing 100 people in. These 2 guys run $5 billion publicly traded companies, insurance, real estate companies. Would you be offended if I got you that 1 VIP pass for this Saturday? They were only allowed 100 of them. After that, we shut it off. Would you be offended if I got Scott Lewis? It's a one-on-one call. He never does one-on-ones. Do you understand how? Do I have your commitment to show up tomorrow at 11:15 on a Zoom call? This guy is so busy. Do I have a pinky promise from you that you won't stand him up, because you would embarrass me if you did not show up? And if they say, I think I'll try to make it, I'm going to say, Lee, I'm sorry. What's really good for you? Find me a calendar, a time in your time block that you definitely will make it, because I'm not going to waste Scott's time.
I enjoyed that Rob talked about just speaking to anybody. You seem to look, you look successful, or maybe he's got a little more relationship. You're successful. What real estate agents do you know that you can refer me to? Because successful people will know successful real estate agents. So if you take it from that approach, you don't have to just only look for agents. You can talk to anybody that's got a suit, anybody that looks successful, because that opens up the demographic exponentially, because there's a lot more people out there without a license, but all of those people know somebody with a license if they're successful.
One of the things that I like is he said rate your current real estate career on a scale 1 to 10, like where are you at as far as that goes, and then to further turn that in. Sorry, Philip, I see I took your point there. Sorry about that, but to then say, who at your brokerage has sat down with you to take it from, let's say, a 6 to a 10, because then it puts it back. I think that's a really great line to get them thinking about where they're at.
I think that was exactly my point. Who sat down with you and went through that? And that's, how powerful is that? Who at your company sat down and said, how can I make your day, your career a 10 plus plus? Huge.
I love it. I mean, that's a very easy line to use, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wrote down another comment. It said, before you say no, do you know what you're saying no to?
I love it. I love it. I'm going to share with you this. So in Team Disruptor, as well as Expert Attraction, we have all of the events, and we also have the newsletter, right? The December 2020 edition Team Disruptor newsletter. For those who are building the business, if you have not enrolled into the Double Down program, be sure you enroll into it ASAP. What it is Scott Lewis works very hard to support us. If you're not getting the emails, then make sure that you add the email address, support@teamdisruptor.com, into your email, so that you are getting the emails directly into you. And it gives you all of the scripts that you need. Make sure this email, support@teamdisruptor, is in there. And then in my Expert Attraction group, there, just search down for the Google spreadsheet to make sure you enter your information in there and start tracking your progress, right? Our goal, Scott and I and Pat Hayes and other leaders work very hard behind the scenes to put all of this together for you, to help you double your business between, it was last month to February 15th, okay? My goal is to go from 500 to 1,000 by February 15th. Everybody, just search in your email for support@teamdisruptor.com. Support@teamdisruptor.com. Email that email, support@teamdisruptor.com, and ask them to add you to the Double Down program, the mailing list. And in there, we give you the entire Revenue Share Pro Guide to Success, but it's there for you. You have the scripts. Everybody on the call today talked about scripts. And that was by design, because I knew that you guys need the scripts. You guys keep saying to me, what do I say here? What do I say there? What do I say? Don't make it up. Use the scripts. It's all here for you. Like Tracy Lewis says, don't reinvent it, because we have all used these scripts at one point in time in our businesses. Prospecting script. Here's our Gladiator Accountability Mastermind. Here's our Revenue Share 5-step recruiting training. Click through all of this, and it shares with you what you do. The simplest ideas are the most brilliant ideas. 5 simple steps, boys and girls. Do not make it complicated. Do not rewrite the book or reinvent the wheel. Number 1, be excited. I work on myself for being excited. Or how are you working on yourself to be excited? When you go to a party, do you want to walk up to a person who is exciting, or do you want to go out of your way to walk up to somebody who's got a frowny face and who's all sad and who smells and stinks and doesn't look good? Who wants to work around that person? It's the same thing in agent attraction. They can hear it right through the phone. They can see it on the Zoom call. They're going to say, whatever he's having, I want it. Be excited. Make a big freaking list. Okay? I still make my list today. I'm never going to get through it all. When I hop on a Zoom call, that's not EXP related, that's real estate related, I go through all the Zoom names and I write it down and I write it down and I write it down. And then I give it to my wife, Marissa, or sometimes I give it to Rio and I says, go ahead and link in with everybody. I can't do Facebook anymore because I'm out of friends, but we go back to LinkedIn and we connect with everybody on LinkedIn. And then we send out a message that says, hey, that was a great training seminar that we were all on, and with Tony Robbins. I'd love to get on Zoom call with you and download with you and recap with you some of the comments that he said if you're interested. If I put together a group, would you want to mastermind with me to talk about this certain topic? Last week, I went on a Keller Williams career night on Zoom, and there were 4 people that showed up. I'm in conversation with all 4 people right now who went on that recruiting call on Zoom with Keller Williams, and I'm comparing notes with them. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm making friends. There's no way you cannot run out of a list. If you don't have a wealth chart and goals yet, man, you better do it. 6 videos here to talk to you about how to build a wealth chart and how to create a vision board. You have to have it. What drives you? What motivates you? Why? How are you going to get to the 10th no, to the 100th no before you find that rock star? And then time to expose. Make sure you get out there. You know, at the bare minimum, if you want to get to 500 as fast as possible, you have to talk to 2 new agents per day. If you don't do that, you're never going to get there. 2 new agents a day equals 10 agents a week. Take 2 days off. My goal was 2 new agents a day for 7 days. 15 agents a week was my number. If I got through 15 agents in 5 days, I'm done for the weekend. If I did not get to 15 agents every week, I'm calling California, I'm calling Hawaii, I'm calling Australia because they're a different time zone. It's daytime for them. I can call and talk to them then. So 2 a day, 10 a week, 40 a month, you will recruit 2 agents. 2 out of 40 will join. That's been my number for 36 months. 2, 10, 40, 2, 10, 40, 2, 10, 40 for 36 straight months. Expose, expose, expose. Just showed you the website, and I just showed you the Facebook groups with all these things that are live for you. It's all there for you. And then the key is in the follow-up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. What are you doing to follow up? That's even more important than the initial calls. I have people joining me after 2 years. I just brought on a guy up in Schenectady, New York. It took me 2 years to bring him on. Okay, and he just signed up this past week. And I'm about to bring on another agent down in Birmingham, Alabama. I met her about 2.5 years ago when I went down there. And I've been following up since. So follow up, follow up, follow up. It's all there for you guys.